Thank you very much for inviting me, Inderes and Alster Research, on this exciting conference, German Opportunities, Digital Disruptors. And I'm very excited to be joined by six of those companies that truly represent the innovation and the topic of digital disruptors. Let me first give you a bit of an introduction to the German equity market overall with some facts and figures. Germany has a very diverse equity landscape. When we look at the exchanges, Frankfurt is the home to Germany's largest stock exchange. The other regional exchanges are independent. And when we look at the companies listed in Germany, there's more than 800 companies across Germany and the regional exchanges, of which over 500 are actually listed in Frankfurt in the regulated market and the open market. When we look at the total market capitalization of those companies, we're talking about more than 2.3 trillion euros. And on the top digital disruption, Deutsche Börse itself is actually a digital disruptor and has more than 25 years ago introduced the electronic trading system, etc., which is today the mostly used trading platform for German equities and is the reference market across Germany. But we also have in the German equity trading landscape digital disruption, and neo-brokers are broadening the offering to trade equities, to trade shares and other products, broadening also the access for retail investors, and overall contributing to the diversity of the German equity market. In terms of investor access, looking at the trading liquidity just across the exchanges, more than 1 trillion euros are on average traded per year. This is volume where on top there's additional volume from multilateral trading facilities and other trading participants. So Germany overall is a very liquid market, and trading across shares is also ensured on etc. via the designated sponsoring program, where at all times a quote or a trading is facilitated. When we also look at the new issue market, Germany in the past 10 years on average had an IPO issue volume of more than 5.5 billion euros. Last year in Germany, the second largest IPO globally took place. And also this year, we have seen 3 companies come to market of substantial size. And also from a equities return perspective, looking at the past 12 months, the DAX is the lead index in Germany, and the benchmark has outperformed substantially, but also the other indices, the MDAX and SDAX, which include small and mid-cap companies that I will go into a bit later. They have also shown decent performances over the past 12 months. Looking at Deutsche Börse and speaking of technology, you can see that Deutsche Börse offers the entire value add from pre-trading, pre-IPO services, index and data and analytics, to trading and clearing, and finally also custody. Germany is one of the deepest liquidity pools in Europe and also the cash market, and Germany as the largest economy. But Deutsche Börse offers also leading products in derivatives trading and clearing, as well as I said, in market data and also benchmark indices. On the right-hand side, you see the various well-known brands of Deutsche Börse. For today, most relevant are etc., the electronic trading platform, and Börse Frankfurt, the specialist trading in Frankfurt. I will go into that also in a bit of in a couple of minutes. When we look at the purpose of Deutsche Börse, obviously we are responsible to ensure that markets are functioning well and that we have a strong capital market in Germany to foster a sustainable economic development. At Deutsche Börse, through our technology, we ensure that we have a fair and transparent, but also reliable and stable infrastructure so that trading is taking place at all times. But also with functioning markets, we foster growth and contribute to the prosperity. So in short, our purpose can be summarized to create trust in the markets of today and tomorrow. Coming back to the German equity landscape, on the left-hand side, you see the regional exchanges that we have, where approximately 300 companies in Germany are listed. In the center, you see Frankfurt, home of Deutsche Börse and the Xetra and Börse Frankfurt trading venues. In the middle of the page, you see a graph showing the distribution of companies by size. And what you can see is that we have a substantial number of companies with a market capitalization of more than 20 billion euros. But we also have a strong mid-market in Germany with more than 100 companies in the range of 1 to 10 billion euros. And the vast majority is actually SMEs, companies that have a market cap of below 200 million. There's more than 500 of them listed in Germany. And when you look at the total market capitalization that is represented by these companies, the majority is accountable for by the 28 companies with a market cap of more than 20 billion. But also the other companies in aggregate have a very decent size, and especially also in the mid-market between 1 and 10 billion, roughly 400 billion euros in market cap. When we look at the sector breakdown by number of companies and by market cap, in line with the topic of digital disruption, the technology sector overall in Germany is very well represented with software, tech, and telecoms, but also other tech companies accounting for more than 100 companies. And the overall sector brings a market capitalization of roughly 400 billion euros. As an investor, if you want to trade shares in German equities, but also available for international equities, Deutsche Börse offers two trading venues. On one hand, Börse Frankfurt, which is the specialist trading on the trading floor, which is both electronically and also via a specialist. Predominantly more illiquid assets are traded through Börse Frankfurt. Majority of them actually have their home market outside Germany, as well as bonds and classical funds. The trading hours are from 8 to 10 p.m., so covering essentially European and also the US markets. And for an investor, the USP is really that more than 10,000 shares are tradable through Börse Frankfurt. And in addition, more than 35,000 bonds, 2,000 ETFs, and more than 1.4 million certificates or warrants. So a very broad offering of securities tradable through Börse Frankfurt. The majority of the trading volume, as I said, goes through Xetra, which is the fully electronic trading platform. There's also a designated sponsor required for less liquid stocks, ensuring that stocks are tradable at all times. It's an open order book from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And clearly for an investor, the high visibility and investor attention, as well as the liquidity, are the key USPs. On Xetra, again, more than 1,000 stocks tradable and more than 2,000 exchange-traded funds. Coming back to the indices, you see on the page the different benchmark indices operated by Deutsche Börse. The largest index is the DAX index, which includes the 40 largest companies in Germany by market cap, or by free float market cap, I have to say. And the largest company listed in Germany is actually a technology company with SAP, more than 180 billion euro market cap. But it's also a very diverse index, and includes one of the companies that you will hear later as well, a digital disruptor with Zalando. The MDAX is a bit broader. It includes 50 securities. Again, also a number of digital disruptors in their respective industries, like Delivery Hero, but also HelloFresh, Redcare Pharmacy, and TeamViewer. And when we move down in terms of market cap size, the small cap index is the SDAX. It includes 70 stocks, and some of the names that stand for digital disruption are, for example, Auto1 or flatexDEGIRO. Also a tech DAX, which is a combination of stocks that are also included in the other benchmark indices. And here I have selected a couple of names from the technology sector. The market cap ranges you see at the bottom. DAX is very broad, from 6 billion to 180 billion. MDAX, a bit more narrow, from 1.3 to 17 billion. And then the SDAX from 0.4 to 10 billion. The tech DAX, given its specific focus on technology, has the broadest range, with the smallest index member 0.5 and the largest one with SAP. In terms of Germany as a market, and also with the topic of digital disruption and innovation, I have to say, from our perspective, Germany is an economy with a large scale. Germany is the largest economy in Europe and the fourth largest economy globally, and it offers attractive opportunities from a capital markets perspective. And Germany is actually home to a lot of growth companies and innovative companies. And that is also represented in the equity market overall, be it with stocks listed in Frankfurt or on the regional exchanges that we have also two companies presenting here today. Germany stands for the engineering excellence, but also technology and innovation. And from our perspective, that is what drives equity markets going forward. It's the innovation, it is the growth. And Germany does not only have a diverse equity or listed equity universe, but also Germany is home to a growing startup ecosystem with more than 30 unicorns in Germany. So here we also have a cohort of companies growing and driving innovation that are potentially listed companies in the future. Finally, to re-emphasize the size and the liquidity of the German equity market is an important element for an investor to consider buying stocks. With more than 800 companies, there's a broad selection of companies. We have the benchmark indices and also the total market cap that is represented by these stocks with more than 2.3 trillion euros, and the liquidity makes the German equity market as a whole, and with its digital disruptors, a very interesting region to look at. And with that, I think I'm a little bit ahead of time, but maybe Oliver, Eero, we open it up for questions.
For an enlightening presentation on the German equity market. Let's indeed move on to the Q&A session, and I think for that we should have Oliver Voyan from Ulster Research online interviewing you, Stefan. So over to you, Oliver.
Thank you, Eero. Hopefully I'm coming through clear. Stefan, thank you very much for your presentation. So we already have a couple of questions in the feed. The first one relates to the IPO activity. So Could you talk about the IPO performance in 2023 and maybe how that compares to the previous year? And maybe also an outlook in what you would expect in 2024.
Yeah, very happy to. I mean, generally, the IPO market in Europe, from our perspective, has remained relatively quiet this year. Similar to last year, we have seen in the historical context also a tectonic shift in terms of investment sentiment, with the interest rate increases at a substantial rate over the past 18 to 24 months. So that has clearly impacted IPO activity overall. In terms of Germany specifically, as I mentioned last year, Porsche was the clear bright spot, being the second largest IPO globally. And this year we had 3 prime standard listings with IONOS, ThyssenKrupp Nucera, and Schott Pharma. The aftermarket performance of those 3 stocks has been relatively mixed, I have to say. IONOS and ThyssenKrupp Nucera came to market in the first half. IONOS had a difficult start as trading below issue price. ThyssenKrupp Nucera initially had a positive start, but the entire climate tech sector, I would say, has in the second half experienced a relatively difficult trading. So ThyssenKrupp Nucera has also underperformed and is currently trading below issue price. Schott Pharma is the clear outlier here, with the IPO pricing in the top of the range and trading up on the first day by roughly 11%. And he is also currently trading well below the issue price. So overall, I think we're happy from Deutsche Börse perspective that we've had 3 prime standard IPOs. And coming also to digital disruption or technology, we had 1 listing in the scale segment of a quantum computing company, which did not do a public offering, but a direct listing. So overall activity, I would say, less than what we had expected initially. But on the positive side, we're going into 2024 with an outlook of more visibility on the rate environment, and interest rates are, from our perspective at least, not expected to increase any further, at least not substantially, which should make it more attractive for companies to also come to market. And looking at the pipeline of IPOs, we expect that next year between 10 to 15 new issues could come to market, subject obviously to overall conditions. But overall, the pipeline of IPO activity in Germany is growing, and we're becoming more optimistic.
Stefan, you mentioned the quantum computing company going into the scale segment. Maybe you could just give a short explanation what the scale segment is, what it's characterized by, and what makes it attractive to companies like quantum computing company.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the Deutsche Börse, we have 3 segments for companies. We have the prime standard, the general standard, and the scale segment. Prime standard and general standard are EU regulated markets, and the scale segment is the so-called open market, which is regulated by the stock exchange, and is a recognized SME growth segment. So the scale segment is meant for companies in their growth phase that are from a size perspective still maturing. And Partec, the quantum computing company, for example, took the first step to being listed in the scale segment because they have still let's say, company development ahead of them. And the idea is that companies progress sort of through the scale segment to the regulated market as they mature.
Great. What is sometimes confusing for outside viewers is that we have quite a lot of regional exchanges in Germany, like Hamburg, Bremen, Düsseldorf, Hanover, and so on. So what is Deutsche Börse's relationship with these exchanges?
The regional exchanges are independent. They are operated independently. Companies can opt to list, for example, in Düsseldorf, but that doesn't exclude them from being traded also in Frankfurt. Specialists can also include those companies into trading or apply for inclusion into trading. So we the concept of regional exchanges is to let's say help more local companies also access capital markets, and as they grow, they have the opportunity also to migrate or to move into the regulated market if they, for example, want to internationalize. But the concept of regional exchanges is really showing the diversity that we have, and various companies have different intentions of listing either in Munich, for example, or in Düsseldorf. And but we are to your question, we don't operate these regional exchanges, and they're independent from Deutsche Börse.
Okay, thank you. There's a question about the consequences of the Wirecard scandal and if it has led to any changes to the entry criteria. Could you comment on that, Stefan?
Yeah, very happy to. The Wirecard situation indeed have had consequences on, for example, on the index regulations or the index rules. One requirement in Germany, for example, is that the chairman of the audit committee has to be independent. Another consequence of the situation was, for example, that companies included in the DAX have to show profitability for 2 years. So there's clearly certain elements where this had an impact, and we as Deutsche Börse are obviously continuously monitoring situations and the requirements for listing in order to ensure the integrity of the market, and as I said initially, ensure that there's trust in the markets of today and tomorrow.
Okay, very good. Maybe time for just one final question. So, or maybe two. The Linde decided to leave the German market and go to the US for their primary listing. Now, then again, yesterday, TUI, they reported that they are considering to dropping their London Stock Exchange listing and making Frankfurt their primary market. So what is kind of the trend you're seeing there? Is it more companies considering to leave the German markets to go to the US because maybe valuations are higher there, or are more of them coming back like TUI?
I think it's always company specific. I mean, we're obviously monitoring the companies that are both listed here, but also, for example, German companies listed abroad. So we clearly welcome that TUI is considering a relocation of their listing to Germany. I think what we as an exchange are working on are clearly that markets are liquid, and with also the designated sponsor program, is that shares for Germany listed or Frankfurt listed companies are accessible, and there's a liquidity pool. I mean, I wouldn't say there's a clear trend with these two situations. I think it's always company specific, but we're clearly consistently working on optimizing the offerings so that Germany, as an attractive capital market, is also selected by companies as their primary listing location. And I think the diversity of the market, the liquidity, and also the visibility that we have in Germany are strong arguments for a listing in Germany.
Okay, and maybe time for one final question. Is there any chance to see the Nordic markets being more integrated into German exchanges, and maybe vice versa?
Well, I would generally say that Deutsche Börse is a big promoter of the Capital Markets Union, and I think we need to look at this from a European basis. And I think it's all our objective to build a strong European capital market. Obviously, we very much welcome Scandinavian-based investors investing into German companies if they find interesting opportunities. But in addition to sort of our ambition or our support for a capital markets union, there's nothing that we can specifically comment on. Yeah.
Great. I think time is up. So thank you very much, Stefan Maaßen from Deutsche Börse.